start my sermon by the same way my friend Steve Schrock starts his sermons. And I sit there going, and where is he going with this? And then later on it loops back and, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. So anyway, when Kelly's, I call them my grandparents, when Kelly's grandparents, the McGuigans, were in hospice care at different times, they were at a Grace in Madison, the Madison area. And I always took notice that when we were there visiting, the nurses and the people that were attending were very good. The hospice people, the chaplains, everybody was great. The day that we were there for both when they passed, and when they passed, of course, they have the funeral directors ready with the hearse parked outside, and so they get them in a rolling bed, and so for Grandpa, of course, he had his Packers, fleece over him, so that he was going out with his Packers memorabilia and things. And then as we walked on the hall, of course, and we start singing, Amazing Grace, how sweet. Is that the words? The sound? Yeah. So as we're walking, and we notice the people that are working there, whatever they're doing, whether it's typing on the computer, they stand up and they face the aisle and they watch the person recess. And it happened throughout the whole building. I thought, wow, that's really amazing. The care that these people give. I mean, they're not in it for the money. They've got the heart. They're there for reasons, but they have big hearts, all of them. And even the one who's doing administrative work, they have heart. They're there for that reason. So how does this relate to what I'm talking about now? Jesus asked, which of the three, do you think, was the neighbor to the man? And I contend, 4. Which of the 4? Now, who's the 4th one? Now, with my story, the innkeeper, right? I mean, this man was half dead. I mean, he was really in bad shape. And I imagine when he poured wine and, how you stings and all that kind of thing. So he takes him into this innkeeper, and you know what? The innkeeper could have said, you know what, we're full. But, like he did for Jesus, for Mary and Joseph, we're full, go somewhere else. No, come on in. So he welcomed them in, and I'm sure this man was in the room and there was nothing, he just lay there, and so there's a lot of work involved. And so as a Samaritan left, because he had to do some other things, and to come back, he left this innkeeper in charge. I'm sure it's more than he bargained for. I imagine that he didn't get a lot of people coming in who needed his medical care. And we don't know anything about this innkeeper, if he was trained as a nurse or a doctor or a physician or a healer, what have you. But he's given this charge of taking care of this person. And he accepts from what we read, he accepts the charge. He accepts the calling. And he's getting paid, but I imagine it's more than what he's doing, more than what he's getting less than what he's doing, right? So we see the Samaritan, the evil Samaritan, those people that are, the Jews and the Samaritans, they don't get along and all this kind of thing. They have different, worship sites and all that kind of thing. But Jesus makes a point of saying there are more people involved here than meets the eye. And there are people here that you don't even think of that step up to the plate to do the job that needs to be done or to open their hearts. The person you least expect, right? And so we see the Samaritan, and he does what he can. He takes the innkeeper, he passes off to the innkeeper. The innkeeper then takes care of this injured man, and we don't know how long. The Samaritan doesn't give him any time frame. He says, I'll be back, and I'll continue to give you what you need in repayment. So not only is the innkeeper involved in this, but the Samaritan knows, and as we all know, that more oftentimes than not, we are not the end-all, be-all, end-all in things, in relationships and things. We sometimes have to pass it off to someone else to continue care. If you're in a job, if you've got a certain specific job and you get transferred or you move up, someone else comes in and they may improve what you've been doing, but at least you're continuing the progress forward, the healing process forward. If sometimes when family members' care is so great that we just can't take care of them anymore, there are other people that have big hearts that will take care. And you pass it off, and the circle of care gets larger. More people get involved, and the care gets larger, and it's more manageable, and there's a sense of combined, interconnected ministry going on. Because we know, in relationships, I can't be all Kelly needs. There's no way I can fill all that. So there are other people that come in and fill that void as well. We can't do it all ourselves. And there was a book written by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers, and he suggests that there are no self-made people. I was self-made. I brought my own bootstraps, and I achieved what I could all by myself. And he's like, no. There's along the way, there's people that are always encouraging. There's people giving you opportunities. There's people maybe giving you seed money. There's people that are encouraging you. There's always people involved in whatever you do. Don't ever think that you're alone in this. We're all connected. And that's some of the gist of the Gospel of Luke. Luke wants us to know that, there are a bigger circle. Who is my neighbor? Well, it could be anybody and everybody. And he defines the neighbor as not as the man lying there. The neighbor is the one of the 3 or 4, the Samaritan. The neighbor is the one who acts, the one who gives of themselves to help the needy. The neighbor is the one who helps you when you're needy, and we all need that at some point in time. But Luke stresses that it's important to know. For this lawyer who thought he knew everything, but not everything, because he knew in his head what the law stated, but he didn't know with his heart what it really meant, is that it could be anybody and everybody could be a neighbor to someone else, even the most unlikely character. We know oftentimes that kids will teach us a lot of things that we sometimes forget or don't know, or hold a mirror up to us so we can learn more. And sometimes the things that come out of their mouth, it's amazing. So we learn from all these people how connected we really are with everything and everybody. And Luke makes the point. He makes the lawyer say it out loud that it was this Samaritan, the one who showed him mercy. Couldn't say it by name, the one who showed him mercy. That is the Samaritan. That is the anybody and everybody who offers of themselves to help someone else in this world. And so Jesus continues his journey on. They've learned something. His disciples have learned something. They continue on, broadening his ministry, broadening his mission to include more than just his little group of people, but including more. Sometimes the least expected people in our lives. Amen.